Welcome to About the Albums. Today we're talking about the album Titanium, which originally came out in February of 2014. So we're in 2014 now. Wow. And, see, it's interesting because the thing about Titanium as an album is that basically I was recording a bunch of stuff around the same time, and as I mentioned in the last one, I believe, the good stuff, or the stuff I thought was the best, went on to Neon Waves. And then all of the rest of the stuff mostly went here. Aside from, I think, Titanium, there was like the Titanium song that I recorded for the album, so that it had something cool on it. So that was basically the one thing where I was like, yeah, I'll add that in and that'll be good. But that's it's just the rest of the stuff, and I don't know. We'll see if it's the sort of mixed bag I remember. We'll see. We'll hear. We won't really see as much as we'll hear. But there's not a whole lot else to really preface this album, I guess. So we'll pretty much get into it because again, there's not really any like cohesion with tones or concepts or anything. The only other part is that I think maybe some of these are still again kind of, oh hey, there might be some relationship-y problem inspired ones here, maybe not. I don't super remember off the top of my head, so it'll be interesting to get into it. And hopefully the cord hitting stuff down there isn't picking up on the mic really loud like I think it always is, because it seems like no matter what I do, I always get the weird rustling sound of the mic moving. Because really, I would just not get that if I would have something to set the mic on. The kind of stand this is, you're supposed to set this on something. You're not supposed to hold it with a stand like this, but I do, because it sounds better if it's closer to my face, but not too close, because then it clips the mic. So, what can you do? Have a proper setup. That's what. Let's check out the songs now on the album Titanium. That's how you start a. That's how you start a thing.
Now we're craving new age metal. Feed the world titanium.
Titanium, Part 1, is the first song, which, again, this is what I was talking about a little bit ago in that other thing just before this. I recorded a song, basically, I had the thing for the song, and I wanted to add, like, a beat to it also, and, like, we'll get to that later in Part 2 of Titanium, but this was the first thing I really liked, the kind of, like, chilling effect of, like, just, like, the piano part playing and me singing over it. I liked that, and, the easiest way to do that was actually just to record it first with just a piano part on it, and then record the next part with other instruments and stuff on it. So, I did that and had them two different songs, instead of making it a thing where I tried to, like, mash them together. And I think that works pretty well. Sorry, there's a lot of weird crackly noises going on. They probably don't pick up on the mic, though, but I'll react to them, and I'll act like they do. Anyways, yeah, it's kind of about this idea of, like, trying to make everything out of titanium, of, like, this futuristic, like, world. Like, everything's made of metal, and, like, it's just kind of taking over everything, and kind of shades of, like, oh, like, it's taking over our humanity, or, like, robots are going to be made out of titanium, and this kind of stuff. So it's got a really creepy, bleak outlook of the future kind of vibe to it, and I like that. And it's just simply, a simple playing piano riff that's kind of repetitive, and it drones on, but it also kind of works to the feeling of it, of, like, yeah, it's, like, kind of, like, creepy and, like, monotonous, homogenous. It's very, like, and it kind of, like, drones forward, and it's just, like, it's relentless. It's not stopping. We can't stop it. I don't know. I kind of like that, though. That's pretty much all I had to say for Titanium. Also, I guess that I didn't sing it, like, I wasn't singing outside of my range, so while I didn't do an amazing job at singing it, it didn't go outside of my range, so it didn't, like, sound terrible. And that's a plus. We'll count that as a plus at this point. We're grading on the curve of me, and I mean of my performances, not of my my gut. In case you're wondering, no, I'm not pregnant. This song sucks. Is a song that I thought sucked at the time. That's I was making, I think it was maybe partly through singing it. I don't remember exactly. But when I was doing the song, yeah, like the final line of it, it was like, this song sucks. And it was because it sounded like kind of like a weird mess, just nonsense, like lyrics for the most part. And I wanted to do it so it would sound like interesting with like the layered vocals. I wanted it to kind of sound like, I've tried to do this before and it never really works. I always wanted to be like, oh, it sounds like a bunch of people. So I just have to do a lot of voices to make it sound like a crowd of people. That doesn't work. But I did that. Again, multiple voices, singing the same things, but they're like different like pitches and like textures to them and whatever. So like they're all like different to try to make it sound as diverse as possible. Of like a bunch of different people singing it. So it was weird, and I guess it made the song interesting. Some of the instruments in it are goofy, like the weird like bell thing for the solo-y bit is kind of whatever, and then like there's like just this weird like, I don't know what kind of instruments they're supposed to be doing this. They sound like almost like weird like animal noises or something. It's like there's like a beat that's going like and like the other thing is like whoop. It just sounds like it's so goofy. So I just like love how like bonkers this is. I don't know why this is the second song. I don't remember it being the second song on the album, but I guess it didn't lead the album off, so there's that. Jesus. Yeah, it's weird. It's bizarre. But I do kind of like it. It's not great. It's slightly catchy, but it's hard to understand what I'm saying for the lyrics though too. Because like I have all the different voices saying it, and they're not like perfectly done over each other, and so like it's, I don't know, but you can't really tell too much that I overlapped it like that, like in the instruments and the music part. And so I did a pretty good job that time of doing that, I guess. So that's another like plus where I didn't even really notice the layering effect. But this song sucks. Is the title accurate? I'll let everyone else decide, because that's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to make the call yourself. I'm very insanely biased on this. I'm too close to it. Take me off the case, coach. That's what they say in world.
Cause you're the man in charge.
Man in Charge is vaguely about confidence, I guess, and being like, oh, I'm a big shot, you know, people are trying to see what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do all these things, and that kind of stuff, vaguely. But for the most part, it turned that way from probably me thinking of like the first lines of it, because essentially this one is this is one of those where the music was there. I liked the music, and then I didn't really know what to do for lyrics over it, and I have a really good idea on that. It's almost a little like vaguely Western-y-ish, but yeah, I don't know, that's where the shoot him in the dicks line came in. I don't know. It was interesting. We'll say it was interesting, and like I don't know. I guess I think it ended up here. I think because of the music, the actual instruments and everything. Like the stuff ended up sounding sort of like quiet and muffled and like not balanced super well against my voice. And I didn't do anything really cool with my singing or my voice. And it's just the same verse repeated twice in two different like tones of me singing, I guess. But I do like that it just does those, and then it has a solo-y thing, and then it ends. And I like that, because then it's because it's short enough, it doesn't like drag on forever, and so it's okay being this short kind of thing on the album. Like, it's not the song you go to listen to that song, right? You're not like, I really want to listen to Man in Charge. But it's one of those where you listen to the album, it would be weird if you listen to the album again, you're like, oh, that song's not on there anymore. Like, I remember that being part of the experience of the album. right? I feel like it's kind of like one of the, has that quality to it. So if you don't know what I'm talking about there, then maybe you just don't like it that much, and that's fine.
I sure make you happy. I sure make you happy.
I Sure Make You Happy is about well, it was kind of sarcastic, I guess. It was kind of like a relationshipy one of those, right? Where I felt like I wasn't really making my girlfriend at the time very happy, and so it was me sarcastically saying that I do. Was kind of like the idea behind this. The song actually has kind of a weird vibe, like kind of happy but kind of like spooky almost. And for some reason also kind of reminds me a bit of Cars by, I think I just looked this up, I think it's Gary Newman, the song Cars. For some reason it kind of reminds me a bit of that. That sounds a bit happier, but it has kind of a similar vibe to me. This one was like, and some of the weird tones I picked, I don't know, it's an interesting song, and how it kind of like can be like slow, and then kind of like, has more like stuff layered, and then it kind of like has some go away. And even though I repeat the same thing, I just kind of keep layering voices over it, doing it. I think my voices worked well on top of each other with those simple notes and the lines and everything. It's just kind of it's actually weird that I put this on Titanium, unless I recorded this later, which I don't remember recording this after the fact. I think they were done all pretty much at the same time, I think. I'm not exactly sure why it didn't even end up there, except for maybe the bass tone coming off a little, like clipping a bit on the bass thing, maybe? I don't know. But it's on that, actually, I find it pretty interesting now. So I like that. And I don't know, it just comes off. I think the worst part, I guess, is remembering that, like, my girlfriend at the time did hear it and didn't realize it was me kind of like trying to push that sentiment sarcastically a bit, and it was like kind of like a downer song to me. She was like, "Oh, I really like it." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool. How do I explain this?" I guess I could just not explain it or lie about it, but I don't feel like you're supposed to do that, so that I don't have a whole lot of tact or brains. I mean, interesting way to put it, right? To say you're the brains of an operation. You ever think of that? Most people only have one brain, but how are you going to be all of the brains? Is that what that means? I should say this for What's the Deal with Sam, but I'll forget it. I won't write it down and I'll forget it. Remind me later in the comments to make that into an episode. Thanks.
Escape or die is my new mission. Gotta leave the depths of the dungeon.
Depths of the Dungeon is a song about being essentially trapped in this dungeon, being tortured, and just like being stuck there, and all you want to do is escape and get out of there. Otherwise, you're gonna be forgotten. No one's gonna know you're there. They don't know if you're alive or you're dead. You don't know how much time's passed. You don't know what's going on in the world, and it's like, if no one's coming to save you, they might just assume you're dead, right? It's very bleak. It's actually kind of based on a little bit, just because like when the music kind of went, it reminded me a bit of like the dungeon theme in the first The Legend of Zelda on the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System, as it were, and it just reminded me of that. It's like, a dungeon, and like I kind of made the lyrics go around being in a dungeon. I like the piano piece to it. It's the way it kind of like was kind of like sad and like kind of like drones on a little bit like that. Like you're just going to be there for like an undetermined amount of time. I don't know. I think it kind of works with a similar kind of theme that way. And also, like, I think the reason it's on Titanium was because the first voice I did on there, some of the notes I hit were not very good. They weren't really notes I wanted to hit. You can hear that some of the parts too, it's like, there's a few parts where I have the voices overlapping and they don't sing it in quite the same beat, and that bothers me, and I hate that happens sometimes, but I don't notice until later. And yeah, I just wish I'd had that down a little better. I could have sang it just in general a little better. And more could have gone on in the song, but since it's not super long, I guess it works. It's a song, it's fine, and it's another one that's fine to just have on an album to listen to. It's not one you'll go and find on your own and be like, I want to listen to just this song. But it's one of those where it's like in the context of an album, it's like, this isn't too bad. I'm in the mood for hearing Sam's music. So this applies to, me and no one else on the planet. And it's like, this is more of that. That's good, I guess. Or something. Echo. Echo. I don't really know how to say it. Echo, and then echo again in parentheses. It's a song with the gimmick of me artificially creating echo by just taking the audio track, whatever, and then in Windows Movie Maker, moving one down, and then slightly moving it ahead. And in doing so, it you also make it quieter, and so then it kind of makes the echoey effect. But it's a consistent echo, which is, some stuff doesn't necessarily do that super well. So I don't know. I did that. And it was easier to record the main parts then, and then just keep making those echoey bits and see what happened later. It was kind of a song experiment. That's probably how it ended up on Titanium. Also because you can't really understand what I'm saying, though most of the lyrics are kind of like, they're vaguely related to it being an echo, and is someone here or are they far away? Am I hearing them or just their echo? That kind of thing. And it's a little chaotic and all over the place, and it's clearly a song experiment, but it's kind of neat, I guess. That's better than it not being neat at all, right? Sure it is.
I'm a knight in the Old West, cowboy in Middle Earth. Jousting bandits is no contest, gun duels on Dragon's Turf.
Sureshotalot is sure easy to say. It's this one is about this idea of basically bringing together two cliche themes, general cliche themes I use a lot of, like, here's a medieval thing with swords and sorcery stuff. Here's the Western thing with cowboys and guns and stuff. What if, protagonist-esque character, your typical cliche hero of these settings, what if you took one from each setting and they got flipped around? And now they gotta go to somebody else's place, right? You got two fish out of water, great movies right there. Putting them both together, maybe you can get more gimmicks and gags in, and it moves faster. I don't know. I'm not a filmmaker. I'm a song maker. And even then, it's a bad one. If I take the quotes off, I can just say I'm a bad one. It's just, it's a goofy idea of, like, also kind of talking about, like, how did this happen? How did we get, like, switched around like this? And, like, I don't know, the idea of, like, going around, like, trying to shoot people in medieval times, or trying to, and, like, dragons and stuff, that kind of sword and sorcery thing. And also trying to, like, joust people and fight them, like, in the West with, like, a knight's, like, suit of armor. Like, I don't know, they just seem like fun ideas. I liked that. The music is okay. I don't do a whole lot necessarily with it, but I think it sounds neat. I also like the line of, like, and it mentions, like, it brings up God. They're both, like, asking, like, if God had something to do with it. And it's, like, I think that works, too, because, like, both of these characters in these different, like, time periods, like, settings or whatever, both of them were generally, like, you would have them probably believing in some kind of concept of a God, though, right? Like, that, I think that was kind of a fun, like, throw into there. But, like, it's, this one that doesn't, like, evolve a whole lot, or doesn't do quite enough, maybe, to be on something else, but it's not too bad. And at the end of the song, you also hear, the, like, as it's, like, ending, like, a weird, like, noise in the background, and I think, I can't remember exactly, I think it might be, that might be a vacuum cleaner. I think I may have been recording this in the dorm still. I think I was still in the college dorms there, and I think they were like vacuuming out in the hall or whatever. That's when I was recording, so you could hear it going, or somebody was vacuuming anyway. So I couldn't get rid of that noise, but maybe it's neat. I don't know. That's Sureshotalot. Like being a sure shot and Sir something a lot, Lancelot or something, right? It's kind of a combination of those things. I think I did a fun enough use of the ideas, so it didn't even need to be great. It just needed to be fun, and if you didn't have fun with it, then I guess I failed again and let everyone down. So sorry. Cold Attacks is an instrumental. So there's not a whole lot necessarily to say here. I was told this sounds kind of like an underwater level from like the Donkey Kong Country games. That was something that was told to me. But what I was going for more so with like some of like the tones, like I wanted it to sound very cold and like icy, like especially like the like whatever symbol kind of like hits on there, or like the way those sounded very like icy icicles kind of thing to me. And it was really inspired by the ice cave in Ocarina of Time, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time on the Nintendo 64. Because people don't know that game. And I don't know, something about that, like just some of like the like vibe of there. I kind of got like, there's the cold thing. I wish I could give more credit to the one in Twilight Princess. What is the name of it? It's escaping me right now. With the Yeti Mansion. Is it the Snow Peak Ruins? Something like that. It's been a little while since I played. I love the place, I just can't remember specifically. I want to say Snow Peak Ruins, but that could be wrong. That place is the big Yeti Mansion thing. That's awesome. It isn't quite like that, but it's still kind of the cold thing, I guess. But it reminded me more of the Ice Cave thing from Ocarina of Time. What I thought of when I made this is what I'm getting at. And I thought it was kind of neat. It was kind of cool.
Gallows, gallows, you gotta go, lose your head with me.
Gallows is a simple and catchy song that I probably would have liked, maybe even enough to put on Neon Waves originally, but I actually didn't when I kind of thought about it. Looked back on it after it was done, and thought for another second, more than the first second, and I thought, that'd be a neat thing for words to say, for lyrics, and made a whole song on that. So it's, in my head, what I was thinking of when I said gallows, I was thinking of the guillotine, which is the thing that chops your head off, which is why I say lose your head with me. What the gallows is where you go to hang people. So, like, I guess it's possible when you go to hang them that you would hang them so hard their head would fall off, maybe? But it doesn't make as much sense. Even if I had changed it slightly to, like, hang your head with me, it would have worked. But the hang your head is like, it's not as common of a phrase like losing your head. Like, it wouldn't be as fun of a thing. It was embarrassing, and so I was just kind of like, well, we'll put that here. And that's how Gallows got here. It's a pretty simple, like, methodic, like, kind of playing of it too. And I think it's another one that's a good example of I sang within my range. You can tell, and that was good. It's just, god damn it, maybe think about it for an extra second to be like, are the gallows what I think they are? And if they're not, don't make a song around it where it doesn't make sense the way you thought it did. But I've had songs that make less sense with the lyrics, so I guess it's okay.
Now that I got you, now that I got you, now that I got you, now that I got you.
Back Now is another relationshipy one, right? Where I was fighting with my girlfriend at the time, and then this was when she was talking with me again. We were okay again. We were on again, and so she was back now. And I kind of liked lyrically the thing of like, now that I got you back, and also works as I got you back now. Kind of like that. Now that I got you and that I got you now. That you get the idea. You can hear the goddamn. You can hear the fucking. So it's just also interesting to see, like, to hear a happy song and to have some of that in there. So that's neat, and I don't know. Helps to have like a more positive vibe to some of those things going on with that situation. Nice to see some of that here, and I don't know. There's not a whole lot more to it. It's a pretty simple little thing I threw together, and it's also a little. It's a little, I guess cringy is the word. It's a little like, just because, like, I don't know. I've definitely always been a little weird about the whole, like, I don't want to be like really like possessive, because I feel like if you're like possessive, I mean, that's not a very becoming trait anyway, to do with people, but also because usually you're possessive with possessions, with things. Right, usually it's like objects and then it's objectifying, and I don't want to be doing that, and so it's like kind of like a line of thinking of that, as I worry about that, and I feel like it comes off poorly, and I don't know if it does, so, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. That's Back Now. It is a song.
Don't you wanna sing along? Don't you wanna sing along? Don't you wanna sing along? Don't you wanna sing along?
This one, too, is a song. It's one I did where essentially I had like this bass line and I just kept doing the bass line, and the interesting thing was doing stuff around the bass line, to make it, it's like more interesting than having the bass do all the work. Like I usually do, and yeah, it's, I don't know, whatever. I thought it was really neat. Just the some of like the singing stuff is pretty basic. It stays in line. It's kind of one that takes its time. It's not afraid to let stuff breathe. And I also really like that at like after I do like the whole like verse chorusy thing I like to do or whatever, I did that, and then it goes off to a jam with a bunch of interesting tones being added there that weren't even in the rest of it. I don't know. I think it's just an interesting composition for it, for me, anyways. And I think I just find it to be just interesting. Is like probably the best word. It's not necessarily that it's great or anything. It's just it's neat. It's interesting, and it kept me listening and be like, oh, what's gonna happen now? Like, this is neat. It's different, and then it's like, then it's over. But like, so maybe it's a tad long in the just jamming out thing, but if you're like just jamming out, that's there. Kind of this low key, grooving jam. And I don't know. it's mostly just like, I didn't really have a song idea, so I just had words, and I was like, yeah, don't you want to sing along to this one too? I don't know, like it had simple words so you could sing along once you know what the word is. I kind of like it. I don't know. It kind of reminds me of stuff that like I put on a later album, but we'll get there. I don't want to get too ahead of myself here. But that was this one too.
We were made to make the metal, to invent titanium. We were all born from the metal. We are all titanium.
Titanium Part 2 is the second thing of Titanium where I added more instruments to it, and sang over this again with the same creepy piano line playing throughout. And it's just kind of the same thing as before. Metal stuff, like Titanium, the idea of this, like, new metal taking things over, and it's goes really far into this idea of like we were made to make the metal, and then we were all made from the metal. We are the metal, like that kind of thing. There's also the line, the phrase in this metaltorium, because it's supposed to be like just like this whole living structure that's made entirely out of titanium is the idea. And I think what I was thinking of was like an aquarium, or which would be more like a metaltarium, which is what I was originally going to say, or like a terrarium, a metaltarium, like that, right? I ended up saying metaltorium, and I think it was because I just got confused in my head on the spot. So I guess it's like a metal auditorium. It still kind of works. It's a made-up word regardless, but I think metaltarium would have made more sense with what I wanted. It would have been what I wanted to say. I still like the creepy vibe to it. It's just, I don't know. It's neat in the way some like the strings and like the choir like tones come on it and stuff too. I don't know. It came out pretty cool. So really, the song Titanium, this is why it became the headline of the album, is because this song was really cool. And I think I made this like after, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that and split that up and do it there, and that's the album. And overall, like, I mean, I guess wanted that to also to have the nice like bow on it. Like you start with Titanium Part 1, you end it with Part 2. And it's overall, this one is actually not that bad of an album. It's not. I don't think anything on here is real great. But I don't think anything on here is also, like, nothing's really, like, real bad either. So it's a pretty, like, consistent experience of songs. Some of them just remind me of stuff I did on, like, later things. Some of it reminds me of stuff I did around the same time. So it's kind of interesting to see, like, I was kind of, like, shifting away from what I was doing before, but still kind of doing that. And a lot of the stuff was, like, I was in my range on what I was singing. I was doing the overlapping thing pretty well. I was hitting a lot of stuff I really liked doing that I actually enjoyed. I was really finding my style. I was getting it down more. So that was cool. That's pretty much it for the album. Also fun little fact on this about the albums, for you folks who are into the series, marathoning it. The button, I don't even know if you can ever fucking see this button. Where is it? There's this hanging dangly button down here, and this button is just it's still on. Is the running gag of that being the pool on, when is that gonna fall off? It's still here. And in this very special episode, I forgot to turn on my keyboard first to have the little light on the display thing here. So, keen observers maybe caught it, but I didn't catch it till halfway through recording it, so clearly I'm not one of them. So if you did, congratulations. I don't know. It's actually almost slightly easier to hold it this way. But thanks for watching. It's always nice people show up. I get some views on these. Sometimes I get likes. I don't know if I've gotten too many comments on about the album stuff, so, like, if you have more questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll try to answer them, but most people don't have them, so I don't feel bad. I don't expect them at this point. I don't know. Hopefully it was fun for you. And, on the next one, or whatever. Definitely, if nothing else, at the very least, whatever. So, the artwork here for Titanium wasn't changed much. To make it cleaner in the remaster, all I really did was redo, I think it's maybe not exactly the same font, but it's close. Just because it was going to make it look cleaner, and it was easier to do than trying to trace the existing weird font. But I tried to keep the same colors it had before by just using the color select option and making everything nice and clean here. It's very strange album art. It was one of those where I just didn't know really what I was doing, and I was just hoping it would come out interesting. And it's vaguely interesting with just different, like, the squares, got like the rounded squares and then the hard square like lines on it, and I've just got my name stacked on the sides and then on a line on the bottom and top, and I don't know. There's not a whole lot of symbolism or anything here. It's just like, just, grasping at straws in the dark in a haystack. That's a thing people do. So it's, it's there. There's not a whole lot else to say about it, really. It's really just to convey that this is the album and that I made the album, and that's pretty much all we're gonna get right there.